If you're a founder in the health and wellness space, you already know the opportunity is just massive. But let's be real, you've probably hit a wall. Why? Because the old marketing playbooks, they are completely broken here. So today, we're going to dive into a new breed of leader, the growth architect, who's figuring out how to build compliant, scalable marketing engines in one of the most high-stakes industries on the planet.
And this quote right here, it just nails the core problem. You're not just selling a product anymore. You are navigating this incredibly complex minefield of science, consumer trust, and really strict rules. The old school approach of just, throwing money at ads, it's just not going to cut.
And let's just talk about the scale for a second. $7 trillion. That's the size of the global wellness market. The demand for better health, for longevity, it is absolutely exploding. But this gigantic opportunity, well, it comes with a pretty serious hidden catch. And that catch is what we call the high-stakes paradox. It's simple, really. The bigger the market, the bigger the risks. Every single marketing decision you make, every ad, every email, every claim, it all carries this weight that you just don't find in other industries. Yeah, because in the world of health and wellness, trying to grow aggressively while ignoring the rules isn't just a bad idea, it is a ticking time bomb. One wrong claim, one slip up with customer data, and your brand's reputation, its valuation, poof, it can all disappear literally overnight. So why do so many great brands struggle with this? Well, they're using a playbook that's completely broken for this space. They're burning cash on expensive, full-time CMOs who don't have a clue about the nuances of the FDA or HIPAA. Or they hire agencies that promise the moon but have zero skin in the game when it comes to the bottom line. Then there are the consultants who give you advice but aren't actually there to build anything. Every single one of these paths is just littered with landmines. So all of this failure has paved the way for a totally new model for marketing leadership. It's a model that was purpose-built for this exact high-stakes environment. And we're talking about the rise of the growth architect. So what is a fractional CMO, or FCMO? Look, this is not just a part-time marketer. Think of them as a true C-suite strategist who comes in and designs the actual blueprint for your company's growth. They get that in this space, marketing has to be built on a rock-solid foundation of compliance and clinical proof if you want it to last.
Okay, so let's just stack these options up side by side. Your full-time CMO, that's a huge fixed cost. We're talking $500,000 or more, and they're probably a generalist. An agency? Well, they're great at executing tasks, running the ads, but they don't own the strategy, and they definitely don't own the financial results. But the fractional CMO is totally different. They are the strategic architect. They are held accountable to the board for P&L metrics and bring that deep, specialized expertise all for a fraction of the cost.
All right, so where does a fractional CMO really earn their keep? It's right here in navigating what we call the regulatory moat. This is the exact spot where generalist marketers crash and burn and where the specialists absolutely win.
You have to understand that every single marketing campaign you launch has to run the gauntlet of these three powerful gatekeepers. The FDA is watching every single product claim you make. The FTC demands that any benefit you advertise has to be backed by solid science. And then there's HIPAA, which completely rewrites the rules for how you handle customer data, affecting everything from your email marketing to ad retargeting.
And if you think you can just bend the rules a little, think again. The penalties for getting this wrong are not just a slap on the wrist. We are talking about business-ending consequences. Huge fines, being legally forced to run ads correcting your old claims, getting bans from ad platforms, and maybe the worst one of all, a complete and total loss of consumer trust.
Now this is the brilliant mindset shift that a specialized FCMO brings to the table. They don't see compliance as this annoying roadblock that slows them down. No way. They see it as a strategic asset. Because when you build your entire marketing engine to be compliant from day one, all those regulations, they become a protective moat around your brand that your less savvy competitors simply can't cross.
But this new model isn't just about dodging legal bullets. It's also about a really deep understanding of a huge shift in how consumers think. You see, today's wellness customer, they don't want more information. They are drowning in it. They want a transformation. So I want you to ask yourself this, honestly. Is your marketing just a bunch of technical specs, a list of ingredients and data points? Or are you actually communicating a clear solution to a person's real problem, a pathway to a better version of themselves? The wellness consumer has gotten so much smarter. They used to be swayed by hype and fancy buzzwords, But now they demand proof. They are so over those vague proprietary blends. They want to see the receipts. Show me the clinical data. Show me where the ingredients came from. They don't want jargon. They want a simple, clear plan to reach their goals.
And look, this isn't just a hunch. The data backs this up. Almost half of consumers, 46%, will walk away from a brand if it doesn't have clear scientific evidence. In this economy, trust isn't just a nice to have, it's the ultimate growth lever. Okay, so if trust is the new currency, that means this new focus fundamentally changes how you have to think about data. You have to deliver those super personalized experiences that customers now expect, but you've got to do it on a tightrope without ever violating their privacy.
And that requires a totally new data playbook. So forget about buying third-party data. Now you collect what's called zero-party data. This is information people want to give you through valuable things like quizzes and surveys. And here's the non-negotiable part. Every single tool in your marketing stack, from your forms to your CRM, has to be HIPAA compliant with signed agreements. This is what lets you use sensitive data to create amazing, hyper-personalized routines that build even deeper trust.
Okay, that all sounds great in theory, right? But what does it actually look like when a brand puts this entire new growth playbook into action out in the real world? Well, let's take a look at the supplement company Ritual. They jumped into an incredibly crowded market that was just full of skeptical consumers, and they managed to build this huge, loyal following. What was their secret weapon? It wasn't some miracle ingredient. It was radical transparency.
Yeah, in an industry that's famous for hiding behind sketchy labels and those proprietary blends, Ritual just decided to show everything. They leaned right into all that consumer skepticism and turned it into their single biggest advantage. So here's exactly how they did it. First, they made every single ingredient totally traceable. You can see not just what it is, but where on earth it came from. Second, they invested in clinical studies on their final products, which is a really critical difference. And even their design, those clear bottles and capsules, was this brilliant visual cue that screamed, "We have nothing to hide." And the result of all this? They took all that doubt and turned it into unshakable brand loyalty.
So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this one question. I want you to take a hard look at your own marketing. Is it a well-architected, compliant asset that's actually building value in your company? Or is it just a collection of risky tactics, a liability just waiting to blow up in your face? Because in this $7 trillion wellness economy, the choice you make right there, that's what's going to define your future.